meeting is being broadcasted on NUSD's YouTube channel at the direction of the board. The broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. If you would like to make a public comment on an item on the agenda or not on the agenda, please see staff at the side table for a public comment card. And let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And we have little ones leading us. The Board of Trustees met in closed session. Trustee Alexander will report on those items.
Good evening, everyone. The board met in closed session on the following items. Confidential student matters. On May 5th, 2026, the Novato Unified School District Board of Trustees met in closed session to review the Director of Student Services recommendation on the expulsion of student number 2025-26-10002. Based on the review of staff's recommendation, Trustee Gasson made the motion to expel. The student will be expelled to Marin Community School for the remainder of the semester, plus one full semester, for the following ed code violations, 48900C and 48900.4. Trustee Pickus seconded the motion.
This is a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson.
Aye.
Trustee Lametta. Aye. Trustee Mack.
Aye.
And Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you.
Confidential student matters on May 5th, 2026, the Novato Unified School District Board of Trustees met in session to review the Director of Student Services recommendation on the expulsion of student number 2025-26-1003. Based on the review of staff's recommendation, Trustee Pickus made the motion to expel. The student will be expelled to Marin Community School for the remainder of the semester, plus one full semester, for the following ed code violations, 48900I, 48900R, 48900.3, and 48900.4. Trustee Gasson seconded the motion.
This is a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson.
Aye.
Trustee Lametta. Aye. Trustee Mack.
Aye.
And Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you.
Existing litigation, conference on existing litigation, information only. Personnel matters, public employee dismissal, release, and discipline, information only. Negotiations and collective bargaining, conference with labor negotiators Joshua Braff, CFO, and Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director, Human Resources, and Employees Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, information only. Conference with labor negotiators and Employees Organization, California School Employee Association, CSEA, information only. And finally, public employee appointment, the principal of San Ramon Elementary School, information only. Thank you.
Moving on, approval of agenda. May I please have a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Thank you, Trustee Jacobson. Second. Thank you, Trustee Mack. All those in favor? 7 and 3 advisory votes. Thank you. Next is approval of consent agenda. Staff is pulling consent item 16G for a future meeting, so I just want trustees to make a note of that. May I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda, not including consent item 16G? Thank you, Trustee Alexander. Second. Thank you, Trustee Jacobson. Okay. Moving on to announcements. Let's start with, all those in favor? 7 and 3 advisory votes. Thank you. Okay, starting with student trustee Walker. Let's start with the announcements.
I hope everyone's been well and their end of school year is wrapping up nicely. Prom is on May 16th at the Regency Ballroom in San Francisco. The theme is Great Gatsby. Last week we sold tickets and 85% of the seniors have gotten them, so we're contacting those who didn't purchase to make sure they get the chance to go. Scholarships were offered so as many seniors can go as possible. ASB is proud of our leadership teacher, Miss Lloyd, for winning this year's Golden Bell Award for San Marin. ASB testing started yesterday and people are extremely stressed. We all look like zombies walking around because we put in like 20 hours studying each day. Students are seeing many more people observing teachers in their classroom. San Marin has launched their own teacher-led walks where they visit different periods to observe how we're learning and then collaborate to make our classes even better. It's basically a way for our teachers to get inspired by each other and stay on the same page to support our success. It's Teacher Appreciation Week this week, and yesterday PTSA hosted a breakfast bar in the staff room, and other events are planned for the rest of the week. And ASB made posters for all the teachers. Tour of Novato is Saturday, and 2 staff members are riding to raise funds for San Marin programs. Chris Starn is riding her 7th Tour of Novato to support San Marin Music Boosters, and Kristen Wright is riding to support San Marin Cheer and Dance. For visual art and performance, our arts programs are finishing the year strong, starting with the final 2 performances of our spring musical, How to Make a Sandwich. Our students will be showcased at the CMEA Choral Festival, 2 field trips to SFMOMA, and classical concert on May 28th and May 29th is the senior recognition night. As we are celebrating our graduating musicians, our seasons conclude with community-focused events, including rock band night at Hop Monk and final music showcase to Trek Winery. Also, the juniors have a dine and donate on May 20th all day at Hop Monk. For athletics, incoming freshman sports night was last night at San Marin, and we had a great turnout. Incoming freshmen had a chance to meet the AD and their future coaches. Tonight we have baseball senior night and 2 NCS playoff games, girls lacrosse and boys volleyball in the first round, while our boys lacrosse team is playing in Livermore tonight in their first round matchup. MCALs for track and field will take place Thursday and Saturday at San Rafael High. We have 2 new school records in swimming added to our record board in the off-season. The newest 400 freestyle relay record. This is a lot of reading. The newest 400 freestyle relay record holders, Myron Gridden and Will Larson, Andy Larson, and Peyton Eggety. Those boys, along with the handful of others, will be participating in NCSE trials on Friday at IVC, and we will wish them the best of luck. NCS playoffs Tuesday for 4 teams, including NCS swim this Saturday, boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse, and boys volleyball and swimming, all open playoffs this weekend.
Hello. It has been a while, so good to see everyone. For Novato, last week we had a Spirit Week to celebrate Semana de los Niños, and it was super fun and successful. Last Friday, we had our annual AAPI food fair where ASB brought in a bunch of foods from different countries that were handed out by the Hive during lunch. Last Friday was also Rep Your Next Step for seniors, so congratulations to everyone on their college commitments. We also have prom coming up at the end of the month. Ours is May 30th. Tickets are currently available online for Novato, Marin Oaks, and Nova students, and in-person sales begin next week. We also have Staff Appreciation Week going on this week. I believe it was 2 weekends ago was the Spring Dance Concert, which was an incredible show and a beautiful way to honor the seniors. Next Wednesday is Rock Band's final performance at Hop Monk. And then I have a couple specific shout outs. So congratulations to Lily Brawley, who represented NUSD and the entire state of California, competing in Poetry Out Loud in Washington, D.C., and advancing to the top 8 of her region. Congratulations to Jahan Zubair for winning a silver medal for writing, and Disa Doan for also winning a silver medal for drawing at the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. And then congrats to Leo Hernandez, who placed first at MCALS this past weekend for diving and is moving on to NCS this Thursday at 4 o'clock at IVC.
Participate in different groups in high school. I have seen a couple different sporting events and participated in the tech committee. A lot of great work going into looking at all the ways that technology, specifically AI, impact our students and our teachers and how we can move through that in a mindful way. And just a final shout out to Tour of Novato. If you're not signed up to ride, you can still go and enjoy the community event that takes place downtown this Saturday. Thank you.
Tour of Novato.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to give a special shout out to, we've certainly a lot of AP testing happening right now. We also have CASP testing. My kids came home. There was a Star Wars themed introduction to CASP at Linwood. It was very exciting. We had to watch some Star Wars last night. Very educational. Also had an opportunity to go to a beautiful 4th and 5th grade music performance happening at Linwood last week, which was lovely. And I wanted to share that Dr. Smith and Magali, Trustee Lametta, and I have been in conversation with someone from E3, which is an equity organization in Marin, who we worked with before, about hosting some facilitated evening events for some of our school communities to bring together families from different backgrounds, perhaps Spanish-speaking and English-speaking, who might not otherwise interact, to try and build some community within our schools. We do a lot of things within our schools already to build those community, but this would be an additional piece as some of our communities are feeling more tension right now. The more we can do to, I think, make all of our students feel connected and our families to feel connected, the better. So I'm waiting to see if the funding comes through for that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I was able to do a site visit at Rancho and Lou Sutton. I attended the Modeling the Way Award, which we honored for staff members across the district. And I was able to get to Hamilton's Have a Heart auction, and that was a lot of fun. RISE scholars and the Hamilton PTA benefit from what is raised at that event. I also attended Hamilton's Open House, which was more of a community event. I mean, everybody and anybody was there. It was well attended. A lot of excitement going on. And then one of our partners is North Lorraine Community Services, and they had their fundraising event last week, and I was able to attend that.
Hello. So I've been kind of all over the place, and I was reflecting, as I always do on Tuesdays, about what I've done the last couple of weeks, and I just want to acknowledge all the people out there that are making so many things happen, especially since it is Teacher Appreciation Week, Staff Appreciation. There's a lot of individuals that are doing so many different things, both at our school sites, but in the community, and our parents and the students. And I just feel so grateful that I get to interact with and be around so many amazing people who make a difference in our community. So.
Nothing to report.
Good evening. I was able to attend the reclassification ceremony at Novato High, which was a wonderful representation across all of the schools and grade levels of individuals have just worked so incredibly hard, and to see the teachers and the principals and our leadership come together at that event was just truly special. So congratulations to those who are students who are reclassified, and to their parents and families who helped to support them. Thank you.
Hi again. We had our last equity committee and we had really great conversations. I look forward to what happens next year. I also did a Rancho and Lou Sutton school site visit. I joined Trustee Gasson and Trustee Butler, and it's always really nice to be in the classroom and see the curriculum in action and our teachers and students interacting. I also attended the NISA Award, and Supervisor Radoni joined us that evening, so it's really great to see our little ones being recognized. And I also attended a Have a Heart Award, and some of our members attended, and we got to see the chess team in action and hear about their wonderful accomplishments. And that is all for this evening. Thank you.
All righty. I would like to invite the next principal of San Ramon to come up, Juliet Jones. She's been practicing this for years. Juliet Jones has been in education for 21 years and has served as the assistant principal at San Jose Middle for the past 3 years. She began her career in the concert and entertainment industry prior to becoming an educator at NUSD. In NUSD, Juliet taught in elementary grades 2nd through 5th. She brings a strong foundation in elementary education and a deep commitment to the San Ramon community. She is collaborative and visionary and prioritizes student-centered decision-making while supporting staff and building strong relationships with families. Ms. Jones was an active member of the Novato Federation of Teachers, serving as elementary vice president. Ms. Jones has her BA in music from UC Berkeley and an MA in education leadership from San Francisco State University. So congratulations, Juliet, and welcome. Okay, just a couple more items from me. We had an event with a wonderful donor and supporter of all of our schools, especially high schools and the trades. And he has an organization, his name is Charlie Goodman, called Shifting Gears. And he had a fundraiser on behalf of the Novato Unified School District. And I'm not sure how much money we were able to raise, but we're trying to get to $1.6 million to launch a 3-year program that will include like the infrastructure for both a beginning auto class and a beginning construction class, similar to what they have in Terra Linda, but we'd like to bring it up here because our students are traveling so far to get to the program, and we need it here for our kids to be able to. And it will be available to students at all 3 of our high schools. So we're very excited about that, and we thank Charlie for all he's done for us. Let's see. I'm also going to, I'm not going to say everything I wanted to say, but except for Happy Staff Appreciation Week. I hope all of you over there are appreciating your staff members. It sounds like you are. Okay. They care a lot about you. And all of you out here. I also was able to see Maddie and Rebecca at a Novato Rotary Club meeting last Friday as they celebrated and shared their the first class of Youth Leadership Novato, and their experience. And my gosh, they all, after the Rotary, like everybody in the club was like, Maddie for president, Rebecca for vice president. We're hoping that at some point they'll come back and serve us in our community here, but you're going places. So, but you're only junior, so we got her 1 more year. We look forward to DLAC this Thursday at 5:30 and tour of Novato. All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, moving on to presentations. And tonight we have a presentation by Hamilton TK-8 School.
You girls can come on. We're moving the mic up over here so you guys can go. I like it though. That's good. Very well done.
I'm going to scoot that way in just a second. So, arrow up and down.
Fantastic. As was mentioned across the room, this is a busy, busy time, and I just want to appreciate. My name is Brian Clement. I have the honor and privilege of being the Hamilton principal, and I'll just give a little intro before we hear from the people we're here to support, our students. I'm also very excited and appreciate when people take time to come visit and see all the great, wonderful things that we do at our school, and this is just one part of all the things that happen on a school site. And I also, on film, want to thank our PTA and the One Hamilton Parents Club, because this staff room has never been more abundant with food, and it says a lot. And I just want to say, on behalf on all the educators, the little things you guys do really do send the message of appreciation that hit in a way that, yes, we have full bellies, but it really does say a lot. So those acts of appreciation are deeply, deeply felt and needed at this time of year. So I am in my 2nd year as principal at the school, and one of the things that's been an honor to do is work and engage. We talk about engage, inspire, and empower. And I just want to appreciate the administrators and staff for the projects that we get our ideas to do, but execute together. And so this presentation is the function of a lot of helping hands and work. Ultimately, we do work with and through people. In my first year as principal, we had some pivots that we had to make in terms of supporting our 8th graders with change in leadership and ways things rolled out for us. And we had a very clear vision of doing something better than we did the year before in partnership with our Novato partners, and as well as San Marin, which I'll say briefly about. But a preponderance of our students at Hamilton enroll in Novato High School. And so the mission was kind of clear. How can we make more clarity about the process itself, generate comfort and ease in so doing, and then also build an eager anticipation for the next steps ahead. When we have these wonderful 8th graders who you'll hear from, we say, we know you want to go and grow, right? Some of them been there since kindergarten, and it's time, and they're getting ready. But also, how can we make that process seamless with the families as well? So, without further ado, here are a couple of the initiatives that we were able to do in partnership with our colleagues at Novato High. Here you go. Oh, so I will say Alejandra, Giselle, and Xiomara. They will introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Alejandra. I'm a student at Hamilton, and I'm here to talk about the Counseling Connections. So it was a few months ago, but the counselors came in and talked about the experience of how we were going to have our 4 years of high school and how it would look like. They also came in and explained about the programs that they had and how it would benefit us with our futures. And they helped us to apply into the programs and supported us. And they gave great advice for our high school requirements and what we should do in order to graduate. We met the counselors, so we are more prepared for who will be supporting us for our next 4 years of high school. Overall, they came in without really knowing us, but they came in with great big smiles and support. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Giselle Calderon, and I am a current student at Hamilton. I'm an 8th grader, and it was very great to meet and connect with the teachers in our tour at Novato High, and I also went to San Marin for the STEM program, so I think it was very great for us to just get to know the classes and just walk in. But also the experience of the classes and how it was just meeting the teachers, like they were very welcoming and opening to us. The Empower Tomorrow event was very educational, helpful, and fun. We learned a lot about how many programs we never knew about, but now we know more about them, and thanks to Empower event tomorrow. Lunch was fun. We got to connect with students who went to Hamilton and talk to them about their experience so far at the high schools. And overall, the tours were great and very welcoming. Thank you to Novato and San Marin for having us.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samara Alcantara, and I'm a current 8th grader at Hamilton, and I'm also a part of the Nationals chess team along with Alejandra. So taking algebra and Novato is really challenging sometimes because the difference of going back and forth can be kind of complicated, but it's also very easy, thankfully, to our teacher, Ms. Doolin at Novato High. She makes it really easy for us to understand, and she's really funny and very understanding of our situation going back and forth. And she really does everything for us and likes to support us, especially with taking tests and coming to our teacher, Ms. Newcomb, who's also very great. And Hamilton also does a great thing, making sure we arrive on time, making sure that our teachers know where we're at, and also knowing that how we have challenges with sports and stuff to do after school. And it's just really nice how they make all that time for us and how they try to make everyone have a perfect and nice day at school too. So thank you.
just within that, right, the structures of scheduling, the transportation that it takes to benefit the students for an algebra offering that we personally can't do with our schedule. A little internal structural note too, in order to prepare our 8th graders for an Algebra 1 offering, we've also added a 7-8 compacted class. So a lot of pieces on the puzzle to make that happen. And again, we only have 2 comparative years, but remember we had our learning opportunity in the first go. Again, just want to talk about that professionalism and a desire to do work together. You can kind of see how that rolled out for us in terms of our program applications. The first year, 11 to Marin School of Arts, 32, almost, tripling that number. Medical pathways there, minus the closed parentheses I just noticed, and doubling that percentage of applications. And of course, it was wonderful also as colleagues to learn about this new opportunity and be able to speak to it, learn about it, and then have a good percentage of our students applying and participating. Also, though our colleagues aren't here, I see Principal Cortez, our 2 Allies, right? Allie Green and Allie McMorrow were wonderful counterparts and drivers of this initiative, and we just felt supported across every dimension of this small wrinkle of what we were trying to do to support and inspire that connection. Ultimately, right, there's a pride here for all of us in service to the students. And I get reminded, even though I don't come to the board meetings all the time, your work and engagement with us is important. And we saw an opportunity to respond to and support families. And really it's that yes attitude of all of us working together to that vision. But some of those days feel farther apart than others. And we have a theme at Hamilton. We say One Hamilton. And I think this project really exists as a testament to the fact that we are one Novato Unified School District. And I just want to give kudos to our wonderful athletes and scholars and multifaceted participants for taking their time to be here. And obviously, these are our students together. And I think this is a good example of how we get to do that. So open to any questions. And thank you very much for having us.
Questions or comments? Trustee Gass.
Thank you for your presentation. And I just want to acknowledge that I know Trustee Butler mentioned the open house and also the Have a Heart event. There's just such a sense of community and welcoming whenever I'm around your staff, the campus, and I just really appreciate that because I know that that's not always an easy thing. And I was very, very impressed with the students. Everywhere I went, they were so articulate. I love the chess program that you've got going on. I know that's through Rice, but just all the great work that's being done and highlighting some of the things you're doing as well for the 8th graders. Just good job. Very good job.
Thank you. And thanks for coming. We literally couldn't get people off the campus. I just locked up and I was like, well, bathrooms are closed. I'm out of here. But it was a fun Thursday. We'll say that.
Other comments or questions? Okay. We're going to take a picture.
There we go.
If you are here for the Sinaloa naming public hearing, please see staff for a public comment. Thank you. Moving on to Pleasant Valley Elementary School presentation.
Okay, well, good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Smith. It is our board presentation night. Oh, you guys are just taking the initiative. Okay, my students and teachers are just gonna find their spots. But first of all, I just want to acknowledge our students for being here tonight. It is a late school day for them, and they are here to present to you a little snippet of our reading program. But before we get there, I'm going to share a little bit about what's happening at Pleasant Valley. And I also want to acknowledge the parents for being here tonight. It means a lot for you guys to bring your kids to represent our school. I am a very proud and grateful principal to be a part of this community and to have these students represent us. And I also want to thank our teachers, especially Mrs. K, who late nights are hard. And she, along with Heather, Mrs. Sargent, and some other staff at our school were a big part of the ELA pilot. And so this is kind of a snapshot in time of what we've been doing at our school as we've been piloting this program and really putting student success and their foundational reading skills at the forefront. So I just want to say that with some gratitude. But we're going to talk a little bit about the reading program at Pleasant Valley because reading is, does anyone know? Thank you. Can we all say it together? Reading is? Fundamental, yes. So Pleasant Valley, reading is the cornerstone to everything. And so we've used a number of things to kind of build that foundational piece as we've been navigating this piloting process. A big piece of that, and what you're going to see a little bit of today, is our use of Haggerty to develop phonemic awareness. We've also sent some of our teachers to get Orton Gilliam trained or OG trained. So if you step onto a Pleasant Valley campus, you'll see a lot of those strategies in action. And then we've implemented also what we call DIBBLES. It stands for Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. We love our acronyms, but it is one of our assessment tools to see how students are progressing in their fundamental reading skills. And then we've also, thanks to the help of Lindsay as well, provided some foundational science of reading trainings for all NUSD teachers. So what is phonemic awareness? It's one of these fancy science of reading terms, but essentially it's the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate the individual sounds and spoken words. So our students are going to demonstrate that for you here today. And some of those key skills include isolating sounds, blending sounds, segmenting, and the manipulation of phonemes. And why does this matter? Because this skill is a huge indicator of how successful students are going to be in reading. And it supports orthographic learning of sight words as well. And our data kind of shows that what we're doing is working. So there's a lot of interesting colors on here, and the striped one is probably going to throw some of you off. But that striped bar means that students who, on their reading assessment, mastered that skill and were tested out of it. And so what we love to see is that our proficient or achieving above bar is growing. So we're seeing this kind of shortening of where students are needing that intensive support or not picking up those skills. And we're hoping, we don't have the end of the year data yet, but we're predicting it's going to match kind of what we're seeing from the previous years. And the same thing goes for decoding skills here. You might see that this portion is a little further over here, but this is a snapshot of first through third. And it's showing, though, that the kids are carrying those skills from the earlier grades on. And this is where I'm going to call on some audience support, but these are some teacher testimonials and observations of what Haggerty, this program that you're going to see, has done for our school. So if we have any volunteers from the board that would love to read one of these testimonials, and maybe with a little bit of intonation, because that's a skill we teach our kids as well. So the more enthusiasm you give it, the better. Any volunteers? Miss Pickus.
This one, of course you will. Haggerty instruction has increased the pace at which students are learning and showing mastery of foundational reading skills and applying word attack strategies.
Thank you. And these are real quotes that we took from staff. Anyone else? Trustee Mack.
Why not? Haggerty instruction has made it very clear which students need additional support with specific skills. It has made the process of identifying and implementing Tier 2 support more efficient.
Thank you. Final one.
Sounds good to me.
Any takers? I love it. Thank you, Jonathan.
Since implementing Heggerty and OG instruction, our second graders are stronger multisyllabic word decoders.
Very nice. And you're gonna get to see a live demo. So like you're gonna pretend that you're at Pleasant Valley and you're peering into a classroom. And the nice thing is you're seeing kind of an age progression. So we have our kindergarten crew with Mrs. K leading the way, but I'm gonna introduce the students. So when I call your name, you can wave to the board or wave to the audience, okay? So Kevin, go ahead and wave. We have Kevin, we have Naomi, we have Kelsey, we got Miss McKenna, Zainab, Eddie, Danica, Adelia, and Max. And we also have Mrs. Sargent representing first grade and Mrs. Block representing second grade. And I just want to acknowledge that I don't even like public speaking, and these kids are doing a live demo, so I think that is huge. But before we get into the demo, a few next steps for us as a school staff is, of course, our benchmark rollout. And we've already gotten some great starter PD, so we're really excited to take this to the next level next year and then figuring out a way, because we do love this Heggerty stuff, so we're finding our way to blend it all in. Continuing our foundational skills and structured literacy, offering additional grade level teacher planning time, because teachers need that time to get it right. And then we're always looking for funding and ways to send more teachers to Orton Gillingham training, because it has been I don't want to say, I guess life-changing, but it's been a really powerful training for our staff. And right now I'm going to pass it off to our stars of the show, the Pleasant Valley Eagles.
So this is just a snapshot. We're going to go through kindergarten first, second in segmenting, and then we'll go through kindergarten first and second in replacing. So I'll go ahead and start. And this is what we did today. So.
And kiddos, be really loud. Yeah. This is your time to be really loud.
So I'm going to give you the whole word, and you're breaking it apart. Okay? Ready? Chalk. Good. Thread. Creek. Plan. State. And scab.
Right, we're going to segment syllables. So I'm going to say the word, you're going to repeat the word, and then we're going to tap it and figure out how many syllables or word parts it has. Okay? The first word is recognize.
Recognize. Recognize. 3.
Good job. Understand.
Understand. Understand. 3.
Investment.
Investment. Investment. 3.
Job. Reservation.
Reservation. Reservation. 4.
Wow. Impossible.
Impossible. Impossible. 5.
Let's try it one more time.
4.
Impossible.
4.
There we go. Great job.
Right. Okay, ready, second graders? We're doing the same thing. We're working with syllables now. So I'm going to say the word, you're going to repeat the word, and you're going to break it into syllables. Ready? Enjoyment.
Enjoyment. Enjoyment.
Understanding.
Understanding. Understanding.
Discovery.
Discovery. Discovery.
Invention.
Invention. Invention.
Overcoming.
Overcoming. Overcoming.
Nice work.
All right. Now we're going to what we do at the end, where we substitute. So we're substituting the ending sound. And I do this backwards.
What does substitute?
Substitute, when we replace it. Replacing.
It's just like the classroom.
We're starting with cane. Say cane.
Cane.
Change n to p.
Cape.
Cape. Yeah? Okay, say shop.
Shop.
Replace p with k.
Shop.
Good. Pit.
Pit.
Replace t with g.
Pig.
Yes. Toad.
Toad.
Replace d with n.
Toad.
Toad. Good. And then cash.
Cash.
Replace sh with p.
Cat.
Cat. Yeah. Good job.
Very nice. All right, we are going to substitute the vowel sounds in the middle of the words. So I'm going to say the word, you're going to repeat it. I'm going to give you the new vowel sound. You're going to tell me what the new word is. Okay? All right, first word is letter.
Letter.
Change the to a.
Later.
Good job. Say sitting.
Sitting.
Change the to a.
Sang.
Very nice. Say tackle.
Tackle.
Change the to it.
Tickle.
Say later.
Later.
Change the a to I.
Later.
Say clipping.
Clipping.
Change the to at.
Clapping.
Very nice. And parking.
Parking.
Change that bossy R to E.
Peeking.
What is it?
Peeking.
Good job, peeking. Nice.
Okay, second graders, I'm going to have you repeat a word, and then you're going to either be changing a suffix or a prefix. Got it? Okay, say quicker.
Quicker.
Change to s.
Quickest.
Say misplaced.
Misplaced.
Change miss to re.
Replaced.
Say funniest.
Funniest.
Change s to
Funnier.
Say fearful.
Fearful.
Change full to less.
Fearless.
Say repack.
Repack.
Change re to un.
Unpack.
And I'm impressed. Let's give it up for the Pleasant Valley Eagles. Again, I can't thank you guys all enough, teachers and students. Truly, I'm speechless. Thank you. And thank you, Board of Trustees. Any questions before we soar off?
Trustee Pickus?
Only to say, and I think we said this last time we had something similar, it's so cool for us to see what's actually happening. We talk so much about these ideas, but to like see, and I love the lineup of the progression and how we're practicing these same skills at different grade levels. This was such a cool demonstration, and I'm so impressed with, I'm sitting here going, how many syllables? I'm trying to form, and we're all adults are in the room, we're being like, litter, ladder. So that was really great. I'm so impressed. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We need a picture.
Well done. Yeah, good job.
Can you give me 1 second? 1 second. Non-agenda, nothing. In 1 second, so I can get something off my computer here.
Now opening the public hearing for naming turf field at Sinaloa Middle School to honor Danny Naroon, school custodian. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to say a few words? Okay, we have Tina Stone.
So we're really excited to celebrate our amazing custodian, Danny. He is the first guy there at school every morning, and he's the last person I leave no matter how late I stay. And I know that's way beyond, what he's getting paid for. It's incredible what he does. And he is just the most humble, wonderful, he doesn't even want you to acknowledge what he does, but he's just a phenomenal person, and he does so much for our school, and I just can't even imagine him not being there. So I think this is going to be a wonderful way to celebrate him, and I think it's going to be a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Anyone else? Okay, closing this public hearing. Okay, discussion action. So next on our agenda is review and approve a naming Sinaloa Middle School turf field for Danny Naroon, school custodian.
All right, we are experiencing our process for naming facilities here according to our board policy, which is to have a public hearing. And then I get to pass this on to the person who is making this happen. So your turn, John Mattern.
Thank you. I am John Mattern, the assistant principal at Sinaloa, and I brought a more silent version of Danny's fan club than I thought. Tina Stone, you just heard from. This is Mary O'Keefe, and this is Alejandro Reyes, who's moved to San Jose but come back to speak on behalf of Danny. So for over 30 years, Danny has been a constant and reliable presence on our campus. He is the first to arrive each morning, ensuring that our school is ready to welcome students and staff. He is often the last to leave, frequently staying well beyond his scheduled hours until every task is complete. His work ethic is unmatched, and his commitment goes far beyond the expectations of his role. Danny's impact extends well beyond maintaining our facilities. He cares deeply about this school, about our students, and about every member of our staff. He approaches each day with humility, kindness, and genuine desire to help. Whether the request is routine or one of the more difficult, unpleasant tasks that others might avoid, Danny simply responds with, "Okay," on the radio, and the job gets done without complaint. His quiet reliability and positive attitude have made him an indispensable part of our school community. Naming the field in Danny's honor would be a meaningful and lasting tribute to someone who has given so much of himself to this school. It would serve as a daily reminder to our students and staff of the values that Danny embodies: dedication, humility, service, and care for others. Thank you.
So just part of the process, they gave us a form, you see it in your packet, and facilities and business, and I have all signed off on it, and you can see the sign that would be placed at the field.
There's an interesting side note. It's already on campus.
Oh, before approval? Just kidding. And I believe that Danny was recognized as the classified employee of the year 2 years ago for the County of Marin. So that's fabulous. So I think we're looking for a motion and approval from all of you.
I'm just curious, does Danny know that he's receiving this? He does. Okay.
I had to ask him, in advance.
Oh, sorry.
Trustee Jacobson?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, as a parent, I've been at Sinaloa as a parent for the last 5 years, and I've witnessed Danny to students, teachers, and PTA specifically, which come with annoying asks. I mean, they're doing great work, and I am them, have come just needing things that are out of the scope of what he normally does. And he always is so happy and kind and gracious in the way that he helps all of the parties at the school. And I will also miss him deeply.
Yes, Jonathan?
As a Sinaloa alum, seeing this on agenda just made my night because Danny truly is a vital part of the school culture. I mean, I want to echo everything Trustee Jacobson said. He's truly incredible. So I 1000% support this.
Any more comments or questions? Okay. May I please have a motion to name the field in honor of Danny Naroon, school custodian? Thank you, Trustee Jacobson. Thank you. Oh, second by Trustee Gasson. All those in favor? 7 and 2 advisory votes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next on our agenda is acceptance of the 2022 to 2025 Independent Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report.
Good afternoon, trustees. Yes, tonight we are presenting to you the 2022 through 2025. We're calling it the Consolidated Annual Report, as it is 3 full years. And with me here is Mr. Dale Klein, who is the chair of our Independent Citizens Oversight Committee, who will be presenting the actual report to you.
Thank you, trustees. Dr. Smith, it's my pleasure to be here before you tonight, and thank you for the opportunity to serve this district this way. As many of you know, Board Policy 7214 is what establishes, under the General Obligation Bond section, is what establishes the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee ability, which you chose to do. The responsibility of the committee was taken very seriously. I was very pleased with, because a broad swath across the community of people that are on that committee, everybody took their responsibility very seriously. It was amazing at how much work was done behind the scene outside of meetings. So the responsibility of the committee is to inform the public and board about the revenues and expenditures of the 2016 Measure G bond measure. 2016 Measure G bond. With this in mind, the committee met 3 times, on February 24th, March 19th, and the final time on April 30th, to review all the revenues, and I mean all the revenues and expenditures related to the Measure G. Staff did an amazing job of putting the packets together for us, so all the information was there for us. For those 3 fiscal years, 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25 budget years. With that in mind, the ICOC found no issues with the expenditures during these reporting periods. So today we are presenting to you the 22-25 consolidated report, and the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee and staff ask you for your approval.
Do we have any questions? Trustee Pickus?
First of all, thank you so much for your service to the community and to our school district. Does this get pushed out to the public in any way? You know, I wonder, when we ask our community for funding, there's a lot of questions around, like, how do I know the funds are doing what we ask? And we get to see all this great information. Does anything happen either through the committee or through the district that shares this information and says, hey, community, look at these cool things that your tax dollars are doing?
Yeah, so we have a similar experience with the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee and the report that we generate there, which also I would like to call out. This was my executive assistant, Janelle McFarland's first shot at making a report, and I think it turned out absolutely fantastic. So she did an incredible job. We are going to, we do print paper copies, and we hand those out to some specific areas. We don't make a ton of them, and we don't, mail them home. But digitally, we send it out. We've been doing it as part of our annual report for all of NUSD. That gets attached in there. We also send it out through social media blasts. We have it available on the website. And at any time, we ask when people are making some sort of topic discussion about NUSD and the things that we do, that you link back to those reports, because they are always available there. Mm-hmm.
Trustee Gasson?
Nice to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. And I will say I did love how it looked. I thought it was so pretty. So great job on the report. One thing that caught me, and I felt bad that I didn't catch this because I know you've been asking for this is more directed to Josh about having people on the committee. I think what my missed on or had a disconnection on was that we weren't able to do this because we didn't have enough people. So I just want to have you push on us a little bit more, so we don't have to do this catch up, which I'm sure was a lot of work for everyone. Just to, say, hey, this is what this means. Because I think I just thought, oh, we were just short people rather than, oh, we were not able to do it each year. So just want to put myself out there, and my husband actually out there that he could have been participating. But thanks for all of the work you did in the committee.
We still have 2 at-large seats. So
Okay, well, I will let him know, or he might be watching.
tell him to give me a call.
Okay.
Okay, may I please? Oh, sorry, Trustee Butler.
Part of this report, I don't think it's a part of the action item or the recommendation is to approve the committee's consolidated report, but you also have the audits attached to this. Do you want to, I think it's important just to say that the 3 years were audited and.
Yeah, and that's all part of it. The committee also looks at, and I had seen historically they approved the audits. I don't know if that part is
been separate before.
Mm-hmm.
The report comes and then the audits are separate.
Okay.
But yeah.
I attached them because they're already up on our website, and I didn't give them to the board before that moment. So the committee they used that as part of their determination on if the expenditures are being utilized properly, is what the auditor says. All 3 audit years came back completely clean, no findings.
That's what I wanted to point out. I think that's important.
And they are the way they need to be, but they are also available online as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can add to that, Debbie, the committee just didn't take that at face value.
Yeah.
We dove into the audits, and there were questions raised. Why is this way? Why is that way? Even though they identified no problems, we took it very seriously. And staff did a great job of answering all the questions to satisfy our concerns.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Okay, may I please have a motion to accept the 2022-2025 Independent Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report? Thank you, Trustee Alexander. Thank you, Trustee Mack. Second by Trustee Mack. All those in favor? 7 and 2 student advisory votes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to make a change to the order of the staff reports, if that's okay. We will start with the dual language immersion program plan update.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith, student trustee. Thank you for hanging in there. I know there's an AP test tomorrow. Best of luck to you. Okay, wanted to talk a little bit about our dual language immersion program. And I will have staff coming to speak as well, and I'll introduce them when it is their turn to speak. Lauren is on her way over since we are moving things around. Lauren will come join us. That's okay. We'll just switch around a little bit. No big deal. For our dual language immersion program, I want to thank the board, parents, and staff for all the support to really expand this program. Again, we are kind of asking to update our plan for the 26-27 school year moving forward. Again, just kind of our big vision is all students are learning to read, write, and communicate effectively in Spanish and English. And the main components of the vision are honoring students' identities, disrupting inequities, preparing students for a global economy, and how to thrive in a multicultural community. And then our big goals are, we have 3 big goals within the program: biliteracy, academic achievement, and developing sociocultural competence. Okay, what are some of the big things that we are working on this year? Again, huge shout out to the staff. We were doing a great job kind of staffing throughout our TK through 12 program. We've kind of been going through the hiring process right now. We're still in the process, and we've hired some phenomenal candidates. Looking forward to working in the 26-27 school year. We still have some additional staff members that we need to hire, so looking forward to doing that, and interviews are still ongoing. This year we've had a number of district dual language immersion staff meetings, really kind of focusing on vertical articulation. This is very exciting. We have our first group of DLI 8th graders transitioning to the high schools. So again, can't say enough about the work that's being done by the teams, the teachers, and the administrative team. Shortly, we'll be sending out our staff, parent, and student surveys. Part of our goals, kind of finding, one of our goals is to have 50% of the parents and students and staff complete our surveys, kind of giving us a heads up about what's been working with the program, what are areas where we need to improve, kind of just giving us feedback about the direction that we are headed. You'll hear a lot about building community. Again, thank you to the vertical articulation and really trying to establish community ties within our program. And again, we've been presenting our dual language immersion program plan analysis and annual review. While there's still data that we need to accumulate because we're not at the end of the year, we have a good start on kind of addressing our goals. And we're going to do progress reports by site, but I am going to hold off on the Linwood report. And I am going to start with San Jose Middle School. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Principal McEachern. I apologize. Whitney is here to share some of the exciting things happening at San Jose Middle School.
Good evening, everyone. This is one of the most fun things I get to do is come and hang out with you and talk to you. Hi, everybody who's here tonight. I'm so excited Erin's here. Hi, we have a very supportive parent in the audience. So let's start with San Jose, and then I think a lot of what I mentioned, you'll probably hear ties from Lauren as well at Linwood, and then also Novato High School. I've been thinking a lot about this, and the word that comes to mind most that captures this year and the progress that we've made actually is trust. We have worked so hard, not only as district stakeholders in terms of staff members, but also with our parent guardian community in trusting one another to do right by the students, do right by parents and guardians, do right by staff members, and the progress that we've made in building our relationships and our community in that sense has been so beautiful this year. So I want to lead with that. An area of growth for us at the middle school continues to be recruiting students and families into the program, and it's also a big highlight and a glow for us as well. We are finding ways to tie in dual language into conversations that we're having consistently, even through like SSTs, parent-teacher conferences. Our students who are reclassifying or redesignating, this is a common conversation that we're having with families whose students now have the opportunity to take an elective class, which is really exciting for them. We are holding on to our 7th period PE class as well, so we can continue to encourage students to pursue bilingualism and that seal of biliteracy, and also have an elective class. Highlighting it in the newsletters, and a really important next step that we've taken this year in terms of recruiting students and families into the program is bringing in all of our necessary stakeholders who are key players in talking about this incredible opportunity, including our community liaison, Ms. Regina, our 2 counselors, Ms. K and Mr. E, and our new counseling technician, Ms. Camille Tevet and Posada. So the more that all of our stakeholders are in the know and there she is, hi, are in the mix, the more they can have really fruitful conversations with families and students And counselors this year have really taken a brave step, learning more about the program and also having more one-on-one conversations with students. And we had some students who were teetering on the edge of just sort of wondering what that journey might look like for them. And I'm super happy to report that they remained committed to their quest for bilingualism and the seal of biliteracy and remained in the classes, which was really great because trying to convince a middle schooler to do things can be a little tricky sometimes. Creating a seamless transition from 5th to 6th grade and 8th to 9th grade. For the transition from 5th to 6th, we took on an opt-out only model. So our counselors were well prepped to visit the elementary school, and in their conversation with the 5th graders, it was very clear that we were so excited to welcome them to Spanish language arts and this pathway. And the counselors highlighted the incredible opportunity to take 7th period PE if it worked for the family, and if not, some kids have a lot of stuff going on after school. But that was a shift that we made, and we have heard very little from rising 6th graders about their desire to opt out. So it's proving to be a really excellent step that we took. In addition, for all of our current students in Spanish language arts, they will be placed in Spanish language arts again next year, and our counselors are having intentional conversations with those students about what an elective could look like, what that pathway looks like for them. We took a really amazing field trip to Novato High School. Yay! Which was really cool. So we took our 8th graders in Spanish language arts and welcomed parents and guardians, and our counselors went, and I attended as well. And we visited Novato High School, and we were able to hear from current high school students, which was amazing. And also we visited different classrooms, and it was really cool to see the look on our students' faces when they went into an AP Spanish class and then a Spanish for native speakers class. And then we debriefed the difference and in which class they felt more comfortable and why. So just, again, being more intentional about the conversations we're having with the kiddos, what their pathway looks like, what they're excited about, what are they feeling nervous about, and how we can support them with that. So that was a really exciting field trip. And again, back to that trust, this year has consisted of a lot of really exciting conversations around not necessarily like concerns around curriculum, but more what can we do to build community? How can we get people excited and have this be a buzz that we're talking about, that is spoken about on campus, off campus, at Linwood, San Jose, and our feeder high school, Novato High. So just at open house, our incredible parents and students had a table outside the library where they featured information about the program and pathway into the high school. We're handing out popsicles to kids who walked by, and I heard from some of them that said, we had parents that came by and said, my child doesn't qualify necessarily to be in the program, but we have heard such great things. So that was really, really cool to get some really positive feedback from open house. Another opportunity for vertical articulation and collaboration has been around continuing to develop I call it like a data warehouse. Where are we housing all of our data from Linwood to San Jose to the high schools? And how is that forward facing and transparent? So our stakeholders are aware of it, whether those are staff members or the students or the parents and guardians. And then as we work to support our students in building portfolios so they can present their progress, that can also support the transition to high school in terms of where we're placing the students. So currently we have a plan to have the high school staff come to San Jose. We're removing barriers, so it's not like the kids have to get there and take the test themselves. We're bringing it to them. They will take a placement test at San Jose, and then we will work hand in hand with our friends at the high schools and the counselors to make sure they're placed in the correct class. Also, we had a really amazing opportunity to visit Linwood. Dr. Sinyard and Mrs. Jones and myself and our current Spanish language arts teacher visited Linwood and participated with Lauren and her ILT in examining the principles of the program. And it was great. We recognized areas of growth, areas where we're doing really well. And it was cool to hear from some of the Linwood stakeholders. Like, I was being a little extra critical of myself and maybe our program. And a few of them raised their hand and said, wait, you've done X, Y, and Z. And so we were able to kind of circle a higher level as we did our analyzing, which was, it was really great to do together as a community and think about how far we've come and also where we're headed, getting excited about that. And what did I miss here? I think that's it. Really just thinking about dreaming up what our next steps are, guest speakers, field trips, fundraising, bringing in people to do learning walks and understand what we have going on and continue to bridge the partnership, not only from Linwood to San Jose, but San Jose to our high schools. That's my update. Can I hand it off to Lauren?
Sure.
Yay. Here's Lauren, principal of Linwood.
There you go.
I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry you were early. Good evening. Thanks for having me. I did come prepared because I'm Lauren Menchavez. I'm the principal of Linwood Elementary. And as you know, I'm really proud of our program, and I'd like to share with you some of the work we've done this year. So in recruiting our students and families, we already had increased enrollment this year from the previous year. And so far, as of today, our enrollment looks to be continuing to increase moderately, so that's our hope for the upcoming year. Some of the recruitment that we've done to get the word out about the program is actually this fantastic toddler group that we have together with Parent Services Project. We now have a weekly toddler group where younger siblings of students at the campus or younger children in the neighborhood who could be going to Linwood can come and join in a toddler group and build community with some of the parents and get an opportunity to learn more about what you do with a toddler, which is always quite helpful. But that's been pretty well attended so far. We also have a chance to run a booth at School Fuel this weekend. And so we'll be telling people about dual immersion, the dual immersion program there. We had a wider promotion of our fall carnival, and based on our tours and just what people are saying to me about word of mouth, it sounds like we're getting the word out that we exist, and that we're worth checking out. And then once you come see the school, you're sold. So that seems to be going well. Our instructional focus and professional development continues to be some work that we're doing with the Association of Two-Way Dual Language Education. And so with them, we've worked to refine our dual language immersion agreements so that as a school staff, we all agree with certain things we do that are best practices to have a strong program. And then practices to make sure that we're continuing to check in on how we're doing with that, with complying with the different agreements we've come to. We are also getting specific professional development with them on oral language development, because really specifically, you can learn a lot of language and not produce the language. And so we're doing a lot of work around how do we get students to produce language without shutting them down due to pressure, with giving them all the supports they need to produce the language. So that's been really helpful work that we're doing together. We also are working with SEAL for the second year, and we'll continue working with them next year to build out our thematic units, which is a best practice for language acquisition. And they'll be working specifically with us on our dual language immersion planning and instruction for next year with the newly adopted curriculum. With building community and our community events, those are very important. We've gotten some support from Tammy Sanchez, who is our DLAC president and works with Parent Services Project. She's supporting our community liaison specifically to work on bringing our PTA and ELAC together and help continue to build up our parent engagement. And for our vertical articulation, this goes along with our professional development. We, as a school, are focusing on certain instructional practices that we've all received training on together. So phonics, writing, thematic unit training are happening for all the staff. And then our ILT is taking a great leadership role, the instructional leadership team, in leading that work together. Because we all understand that you can have a great teacher with a door closed, but it's all of us working together and all of us building on the work one after another that really creates the results that we want for our students. Let's see. I think the seamless transition from 5th to 6th grade was already discussed. We're doing great. Everyone knows what to expect. And in terms of data, we're seeing wonderful gains in our state test scores, but really specifically in our subgroups. And so we're seeing that traditionally underserved populations are making greater gains in the way that we would expect, and we would want to close that opportunity gap. I think part of the reason we're seeing those results are we're holding weekly data meetings where we're using Prop 28 and Title II funds to have art classes happening while our grade level teams get together, review data, and determine how to respond to that data in small groups in our universal access time. So it seems to be powerful and working. We're going to continue to do that. And then we were part of the pilot process for the curriculum. Linwood's really happy with what we adopted. It's widely used in the dual language programs in California. Seal has experience with it, so we won't be reinventing the wheel in terms of building our own scope and sequence. And our 2nd and 4-5 combo teacher felt that it was really strong and are looking forward to leading the group as we roll out the new curriculum next year. I will get to our self-study analysis in a bit here, but I'm going to hand it over to the high school.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And then Principal Cortez, do you mind coming up for just a quick second? Want to talk, we're highlighting Novato High School, but knowing that we have our first upcoming 8th graders going to be in the high schools now, we held a world language committee meeting. So we have a world language task force now as well. And so one of the things that we discussed was, as we are accepting kids into both MSA, STEM, Next Gen STEM, how are we supporting all the kids to make sure our specialized programs as well partner with world language? And so that's been exciting. Kind of talked about assessments that we'll talk about a little bit in a second here, but really making sure that we have similar assessments to help students with placement and recommendations as we move along. So both San Marin and Novato are partnering to kind of collaborate and support our students next year as well.
When I think about one word to summarize how Novato High feels about DLI approaching us, it's potential. We are so incredibly excited about it. And there's so many things that a student can learn by participating in one or more program at the same time. Because I really believe that high school should be a place where students learn how to make choices. Because it's so high risk after high school, so that in high school, figuring out what fits, figuring out who they are and what they care about and what they want to spend their time doing with the rest of their life, that's a high school task. So I actually love the transition between elementary and middle school being one that's super supported and created for them and very scaffolded, and that as they move on to the high school level, there are more choices, and you can stay within the DLI general sequencing, the general outcomes, and also explore yourself as a scientist and a problem solver through Next Gen STEM, or your creativity as a multilingual contributor citizen later on in life. Creativity is going to be a piece of that. And so what we've done is made sure that our specialized programs don't operate in silos, but rather that it's very incredibly coordinated so that kids can explore more than one identity at once. Or as the children call it these days, your intersectionality of interests. So again, high school programming and the way that our schedule works is all about not necessarily making one choice, but exploring several at the same time. And kids can absolutely be in the DLI program and an athlete with an IEP who is very creative and is in product design, right? All of those things can happen at once in the Novato High School scope and sequence and our course offerings. Thanks to your very strategic and consistent support of making sure that we have FTE to make that happen. And I think that Proposition 28 came just in time for us to be incredibly creative at the elementary, middle, and high school level to offer these options for our students. Yeah.
That's it. Yep. All good. And so I am going to bring Lauren back up and talk a little bit about our review and kind of our annual review as well. And I'll let Lauren lead a little bit right now in terms of the process that Whitney did mention briefly, and talk a little bit about that, and then I'll jump in the next piece.
All right. So the annual review that we're holding is based on the 7 strands of the dual language guiding principles for dual language education book. And so these are the 7 strands here. We focused this year on program structure specifically. So, of course, we're working in all of these areas, but this was the focus of our review. So each strand has a series of guiding principles, and then each of the principles is broken down into several key points. And then we all had an opportunity, TK through 8th grade, as a staff. I had my ILT members there that represented all of our grades. We had the teacher from the middle school and the 2 administrators. We looked at each key point, and they all include progress indicators. So we discussed whether we had minimal alignment, partial alignment, full alignment, or exemplary practice, and we found evidence for that. And then we shared out that evidence as a group. And the different areas we looked at specifically were vision and goals, equity, leadership, and planning and model. So it was a really good opportunity, like Whitney said, to find out stuff we were doing well that we hadn't thought about because it was just how we do business, and really celebrate that. And then identify areas for growth, which we found particularly had to do with some of our alignment, which makes sense at this stage. And so we determined some next steps based on the conversation, and those were to increase options in the PK through 12 pathway, to continue building on consistency of curriculum and assessments, to increase equity with additional supports for high-need students, and to further clarify the mission and vision for the full TK through 12th grade program. So it was a very powerful conversation. We'll continue to review a different strand every year. Next year, very fittingly, we'll be looking at curriculum, both at the beginning of the year as we're adopting the new curriculum, and then in the review in the spring. And so this is a tool a lot of schools use because they're using the CAL document that we use to build our dual language programs. And it's very user-friendly, but provides an opportunity for us to have a great conversation of where to go next.
And while we focused on TK through 8, I got to do the high school perspective a little bit after the task force. And I just can't reiterate enough how excited the high school folks are to join the conversation as well. And they have been a part of it. So a huge shout out to Rachel Galdamez and to Daniela Sparrows, who are really spearheading the work at Novato High in terms of curriculum program structure. As we are moving to the high school level as well, the big focus for us is also the seal of biliteracy and earning that. When students are so proficient in Spanish language as they move to the high school, they can earn the seal of biliteracy much quicker than in the normal 4-year pathway. So if students are placed into AP courses or for Spanish speakers, 1 or 2, and we're going to bring a course update in the future here, to get credit immediately in the 2 years. So early by freshman, sophomore year, students can advance potentially to already earn the seal of biliteracy. So we're very excited about that. We're continuing to partner with curriculum and looking at different options and supplementary curriculum. Again, instruction as well, working with ATDLE, as mentioned earlier, and then also with our work with the Center for Educational Leadership, kind of partnering through our walkthroughs to, again, calibrate our instructional strategies. Looking at assessment and accountability, an area we still need to focus upon, especially as we move to the secondary level. Staff quality and professional development. Again, having this vertical articulation where we can share best practices and ideas has been instrumental. Family and community engagement, like we said, we are so fortunate to have such a dedicated group of families who are involved in the DLI program, coming to our DLI committee meetings. We had 4 this year. Newsletter information that's been going out, and just really appreciate all the support that is from the parents for this program. And then in terms of supports and resources, and continuing to look at needs, our services and interventions if students are falling behind, and really continuing to review our data to make sure our students are, at the end of the day, accomplishing the 3 goals that we have set out. So with that, it's been a very exciting DLI year. Looking forward to the next coming school year and branching into the high school, and can take any questions from staff, or from board, excuse me.
Questions, comments? Trustee Jacobson.
First, I want to thank our principals for being here and telling us all about all of the hard work you guys have been doing and how it's going. It's really great to hear from you. 2 questions. 1, have you guys established the articulation between elementary and middle school already? Because it sounds like all the way through still needs to be established, if I'm hearing that correctly.
It is established. We're just strengthening it. So again, the vertical articulation kind of meeting together. The high schools met separately now, and then bringing all the folks together. So that's the next step with that.
Okay, great. And then I don't think that I see the information on the annual review in this presentation. Would it be possible when we get these annually that the previous years is in there and then you guys speak to how that's going? And then once you have it for this school year, could you send that to us?
Sure,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Just kind of a recruiting question. I seem to recall what's the latest grade we can bring kids into this? Is it third?
Actually, it depends. So it depends if a student is an English language learner coming in with Spanish background already. So that's it. Again, kind of one of the things that we're looking at is the assessment and accountability piece. So looking at an assessment, if a student is proficient in, say, Spanish already and can pick up English rather quickly, that's something that we can absolutely increase a student. It's a little bit harder for an English learner, say at the middle school level. This is one of the challenges that Whitney just mentioned. If you have no Spanish background, jumping in at that level, it's not possible. So it's kind of looking at our English learners and definitely trying to recruit some English learners to come into the program as well.
Got it.
And can I just add that even just this year, we had a new student join our community in Novato from out of state, and she had experience in a dual language program at her previous school. And so we were able to look at her transcripts and takes different areas like reading, writing, speaking, and assess her proficiency. And she joined the program at San Jose. So that was really exciting. So I think it's sort of case by case, right? There's not necessarily like a one size fits all model that we use, but just understanding if there's a student who could qualify, if you will, to participate. We want to make sure that we dig into that as much as possible. Yeah.
Without an assessment, though, without testing into the program, we accept through first grade. After that, because language acquisition takes 5 to 7 years, research indicates we should test for proficiency before they enter.
Hi, thank you all so much. This is so exciting. Sort of a follow-up on the audit eval question. It would be great for us to see some of the data that we're talking about. One of the major benefits of a DLI program, right, is how it strengthens students who are both native English speakers and non-native English speakers and Spanish speakers and non-native Spanish speakers. And I would love for us to be able to see that data so we can kind of point to, and I know that we were talking about some of it, right? We have some of that great data. It'd be great to bring that here so we could actually see the results of that aspect of this particular program. So once we get to the end of the year, if we can circle back with that, that would be really great. Thanks.
Quick question. How many people are transitioning from 8th grade to high school? And how many are transitioning from 5th to 6th grade? I don't think I saw that information in the audit.
No. So we have approximately 14 students at the 8th grade level who remained in the DLI program originally. That being said, again, it's the first cohort. So students who took DLI or who went through Linwood and then didn't stay with the program but wanted to jump back into, that's kind of where the assessment piece will be very important. So to see, hey, you know what, the student actually really has a solid background and should be in Spanish for Spanish speakers 1 or already Spanish 3. We're not going to start you at Spanish 1. So that's one of the big components. And then the Linwood transition, how many kiddos from 5th grade going to 6th grade? 34, right?
Oh.
34, 35.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. It's really great.
Yeah.
Trustee Pickens?
Follow up. These 8th graders who had the families and the 8th graders who have stuck with this program and through a lot of uncertainty and figuring out what this looks like. I don't know if in the 8th grade traditions here, if people wear cords or if there's a way, I think it's really it'd be really cool if we could honor these 14 students who are graduating from the 8th grade level and moving on to high school. It's pretty impressive. The faith of the families and also just these students and their commitment to this work, I think is really worth celebrating. So just a thought as we near graduation.
Thank you. It's a great suggestion.
It's something, I don't remember we talked about
Yeah, we did.
It's something that Julie and I talked about, and yes, absolutely is a focus of ours and something we want to honor.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I want to thank all of you. I know it's a lot of work. You know, I've been part of several conversations and love the collaboration between high school, middle school, and elementary school, and just following the pipeline of what happens next. Thank you.
Good job, Ben. I'm assuming it's this one.
The next staff report is Equity Imperative Committee update.
Okay, so that's me, and I have a couple of friends who are going to help me. So we changed the order because I was hoping that one of the students was going to show up, but he obviously couldn't make it, so that's why we delayed and then put Ms. Min-Chavez on the spot. So sorry about that, Ms. Min-Chavez. You did great. You did great. Okay. All right. So Equity Imperative Committee update. This is our second year with the committee, and it is continuing to evolve. The group evolves the work as we have discussions and we talk about our focus. The equity imperative in general. The committee is made up of staff, specialists, administrators, students, and parents. It's one of our only groups that has all that all mixed in together. And the purpose really of the group is to make sure that we're doing the work and we have a space to have some of the challenging conversations that come with dealing with equity issues. And so these were the goals that we made last year at this time and that we brought to share with you. And we've had, I didn't pull the data together just because it was hard to be able to pull it together exactly. So I'm just going to speak to it. So, for example, increased graduation rates for English learners and unaccompanied minors would be measured by tracking graduation rates. Well, we haven't hit graduation yet, so we will have that in the fall. We did do surveys for the second one, increased parent and guardian and teacher understanding of standards-based grading practices. We had 3 meetings of robust discussions around this, which helped lead to some of the other discussions we were having about standards-based grading. And then creating a data infrastructure in which data could be used to adjust instructional practices. This also fell short this year in terms of Data Matters. Our original Data Matters system it's gotten a little clunky, and we were actually looking into a replacement product for it to make it more efficient. So that was one of our big obstacles on that one. And then as far as intentionally building adult connections with all students, this was done at all grade levels throughout the district, and relates, we didn't share all the data with you last 2 weeks ago around the student, the student survey data, but we showed some promising growth in that area with increased intentionality around relationship building. And then increased student access for tutoring and learning supports also was ended up being very difficult to track. But there were certain highlighted spaces within the district that increased opportunities for students. And then the classroom learning walks with teachers. This really still remained mostly at the administrative level with a few teachers, but this is definitely something we want to continue to work on. And San Marin in particular has really been piloting the idea of learning walks and opening up practices and to look at how various student groups are doing in the classroom. And so we hope for that to be continued. So looking at these goals, they were all over the place, right? They were sort of aligned with LCAP goals. It was difficult for us to track, and it was hard for us to provide the data within the equity imperative groups to be able. We had great conversations, but it was really hard for us to make action. And so halfway through the year, these were 3 topics that are definitely equity related, that came up as ones that we felt like we could create some actions around. So we created within our 40 people in the group, it's a big group, we divided up into talking about and discussing immigration concerns and supports, inclusion of students in SDC classes, and then racial slurs on campuses. So now my friends are going to help me. So Isabel Malera had joined our committee right at this moment. Not right at this moment, but at the moment that we made the subcommittees. She has been participating. So she's going to talk a little bit about the actual action steps, not related to the goals that we wrote. Does that make sense? We made these goals, but we came up with new ones, and this is where we found the most success.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Smith. Yes, I did come into the Equitable Imperative work group halfway into the year. And it goes without saying that any work-related equity is never done, and it's ever changing, right? When we think of equity, we think of providing equal access to all, and that looks different for different people, depending on their experience and what their needs are at that moment. And as our community shifts and changes, the equity work also shifts and changes with it. And so I had the honor of and the privilege of working with a subcommittee that focused on the issue of immigration. And I'd like to highlight that committee was really driven by our Latino parent voices. They came to the table and they spoke with us about what their current needs are, not just in relation to immigration issues that we know are happening in our community, but also how do we as a district support our communication efforts with the community, right? So in a time of fear, in a time of lack of access, in a time of feeling that they're being persecuted, and all of these things, how do we show up as a district to support the way in which we communicate with them during these times? And so one of the things that the subcommittee brought forward and highlighted is the critical need for communication from the district that feels both personal and accessible, right? And understanding that different cultures communicate differently, right? And so sometimes the way in which we've communicated with our Latino community hasn't been received, whether due to access or whether due to a way in which we've done it in the past. And so the subcommittee looked at a way to honor these voices and worked on developing a communications plan that has tangible steps, because as I like to say, tangible steps lead to measurable outcomes. And there's no better way to honor the work, and especially the work of equity, by making a plan of what we're going to do, following through on those steps, and showing people that these steps created outcomes that made a difference. And so in that effort, when the subcommittee met, we looked at what apps or what systems we're using to communicate with families. And it's mainly through, when it comes from the district or the school sites, it's mainly through Parent Square. But we were finding that our community liaisons and other site members were communicating with the Latino community via the WhatsApp application. And we know that that information isn't always encrypted. We know that when you're sending a group message through WhatsApp, it's revealing the contact information of all the recipients. And so when the subcommittee looked at these data points, we are recommending that the district begin using the Ring Central app, which the district already utilizes. And this is modeled a lot after the WhatsApp app, but it allows us to keep recipients' information confidential when we're sending group messaging. And it also has reply all controls so that, if you're receiving a group message from your community liaison, you're not also receiving 150 replies to that message. And so that's one of the things that the committee is recommending. Regarding our communication to the Latino community, other things that the subcommittee is recommending is that we broaden the scope of our reach. One of the things that we heard is that oftentimes when a student is reclassified, which is a great thing, we just reclassified 134 students last week, that student's language fluency changes to RFIP or are fit monitored. And therefore, sometimes the parent loses the connection to their ELAC committee or stops receiving messaging that they were receiving before because now their students' language fluency has changed. So what the subcommittee was saying is make sure that we are expanding the group of recipients of our messaging, right? Make sure that we are not just reaching out to those that are active in our ELAC committees or our DLAC, and not just looking at the language fluency status, but making sure that our scope is reaching all our Latino community and our immigrant community as a whole. And also looking at the way in which we layer our messaging, right? We are always impacted by what feels like thousands of messages from our school sites, the district, and sometimes people develop almost a shield where they're just ignoring the messages, right? Because there's so many coming. So looking at a layered approach where we develop a tiered communication plan that's based on urgency. So something that a level 1 communication would be for critical emergencies, right? And a level 3 would be something more like a general school news or something like that, so that we are fine-tuning our messaging that's specific to the need that we have at that moment. So that was something that the subcommittee shared with us, that sometimes too much is coming all at once and it's hard to discern exactly the importance or what they need to do with information. What else did we look at in regards to immigration? The other thing that we are working on is something called, and speaking of Linwood, the Linwood Pilot, right? And that is an initiative that's focusing on the quality of relationships within that school community. And the goal is to build natural resources. And one of the things we were talking at the bigger meeting, right, when building natural resources, when we think if you go back to a time where you were parenting your littles and you felt super isolated, and didn't know what to do, having time to spend with other families or other people who are going through the same experience was super helpful. And maybe some of those people have become your closest friends to date, right? I know that's been the case for me. And they're part of my natural resources now, they're part of my tribe. And so the hope in the Linwood Pilot is that we're bringing the communities together, the English-speaking community with the non-English speaking community, to share and get to know one another, in the hopes that connection is helping to foster communal trust and mutual support, and ensuring that every family feels like they're connected to their site and that they have someone that they know, that they could call at a moment's notice and say, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late to pick up my kids. Can you let them know? Or can you give them a ride to the library or whatnot? So while we may not be able to address the overall issue of immigration, building a better system that helps us to communicate with our families and helping families build trusting relationships with one another is, at the end of the day, going to help to strengthen what we're doing for our Latino community. We cannot fix ICE, we can't fix the immigration situation, but what we can do is we can fix the way in which we communicate with this subset of our population. Thank you.
Inclusion of students in SDC classes. Dawn Mooney.
Hi. Thank you for including me and your committee as well in making this shift. I thought it was a really timely, proactive way to bring some of the issues that our parents wanted to talk about, some of the areas that we wanted to improve, to the table, to the larger group. And I think it fits perfectly within this. So that was wonderful. When I joined the group, the subcommittee folks were already members, but they were families that were very invested in inclusion for students across the district. And so our subcommittee was made up of families, staff, students. So it was truly representative of everyone else in the room. And we made sure that they had all the information that we've been doing. So as the board knows, we've been conducting an inclusion audit throughout the district. And so we explained the inclusion audit, we explained the data that we already had, that the surveys from families, the surveys from students is now completed. That has been shared with principals as well as overall and directly with their schools. That data had been collected, the results were shared. We talked about the field trip and the importance of the field trip inclusion and that has been agendized for all principals throughout the district at this point. They are no longer going to be drafts. They will then be documents that will be handed for the new school year to make sure that we're using these documents to make sure the kids are included in everything. Interviews with staff are still ongoing because they're very organic in many ways. That I'm there, folks want to talk to me, and I want to keep that door open to continue gathering that information. And with all of this information and then introducing it to the equity committee group, we're bringing that information back to DCAC next year. And that will be an agenda item for each of the DCAC committee meetings to talk about the data, to then build an action plan, and they will be part of the action plan along with principals, with staff, with DCAC, to put together something to make sure that we're being more inclusive. And then also recommending that we add an inclusion goal to the board. The district goals next year is also part of that committee. So it was really wonderful to be part of both of the last out of the four. So I thank you for welcoming us to that committee.
Thank you for taking the lead on that. So I'm going to speak on the racial slurs. We have had quite an escalated use of racial slurs on our campuses, pretty much all of our campuses, unfortunately. And this is, the work never ends as we tackle racism and we tackle the impact of racial slurs on our students. And we have our anti-hate speech policies. We've, looked at discipline matrix. We've have the culture of belonging curriculum. Is that enough? What more can we do? And so this piece of kind of the equity imperative group was very emotional, very impactful. We heard a lot from the students themselves and their experiences on campuses. We've heard from parents of those kids, not those kids specifically, but parents of kids who've been affected. And then we've had a rise in cyberbullying with racial slurs on top of this. And so the discussions, a lot of it, we're just kind of processing a lot of emotions. But then also in our last meeting, we came up with some really solid ideas of what we could do next. And one of them was, okay, our anti-hate speech protocol, it's according to our policy, it starts over the next year, right? Oh, maybe we should relook at that, right? Do we have students who, had incidences in 6th grade and then 7th grade? And then also tracking who are we having certain kids always be the victim or have been the victim more than once, right? So how can we kind of amplify that policy so that it can be more effective? Not that it hasn't been effective, but it's not effective enough. And then the final piece, and this is what I was hoping Malachi was going to be here for, but he couldn't make it, which was kind of why we changed the order, because he has such a deep passion for this. In fact, I think I know he graduates, and we've already invited him back to come help us with this work. He was like, well, I'm not really going to college right away. I'll be around. I'd love to come back and help. And so this idea that, as adults, we can, try to tell kids this isn't good, don't do this, it's not. But when you hear from your peers or you hear from slightly older students, the impact can be really big. And so we talked that with all the work that they've done, both at San Marin and Novato High, on peer mentoring and upstander training, that there could be a model where those students are helping each other through this, and then those students are also going to middle school, and then the middle schoolers could be going to elementary in terms of really discussing and helping kids understand the impact of some of these behaviors. So we think that's where we can make a bigger difference. So really robust discussions happening at Equity Imperative. We now, next slide. So now we took a survey. We talked about all the things that they liked about this year, what they want more of. We definitely appreciate having our Latino parents, really more of them at the meetings, for the first time this year, and it really made a big difference. And then we decided we needed small, achievable goals, and that we really liked the idea of these subgroups within our equity imperative, and that maybe it's not just about the equity imperative group that you're working at, but that you might have to do some work in between, right? And which is one of the things we discovered. So the next slide, we're going to be meeting next year, Tuesdays, early morning, well, for early in the day instead of at lunchtime, which we tried this year. Definitely want participation to expand or alter and change according to what the group needs and if people want or can continue. And then we have decided to have like a steering committee for the group. So it's not me just trying to figure it out each time, since that we have more voices at the table to help plan and lead the meetings and the work. So we're going into our third year, and the energy and the synergy that comes from being all in the same room together and working towards common goals is very powerful and should continue. There's not discussion action. This is just a staff report.
Trustee Gasson?
You can talk.
Thank you. I always appreciate like hearing all the people, it's hard sometimes in a presentation, so it was super helpful to hear in its entirety, but also that, and I think it's admirable to pivot when you notice, and you took the 3 areas, which I think we're in such incredibly fast changing times, and focusing, being able to do that, not just go, okay, we're focused here, but these are 3 areas, which I think you captured super well for a lot of reasons. I had a couple of thoughts about each of them actually as I was hearing about them, and I guess I'll go to the one that's easier for me, is the inclusion. No, you don't need to get up. I appreciate that greatly. It's something in my almost 8 years being here. We've always had so much going on, and we've made definite strides in improving, what we're doing for our special education students and families. But this is a critical piece that I'm glad to see that it's going to be highlighted in this way, but also as a goal potentially for the coming year. It's just really so important. So I'm very happy that that's there. The racial slurs piece as well. When we were on that slide, one of the things that came to mind, I feel for our kids. They're exposed to so many different things, but there's a huge piece of me that also believes sometimes it comes from home or access that they get through whomever they're around. And just seeing some conversations recently in social media and stuff around it. And I was wondering, nobody has to answer anything right now, but I know as a parent, we get certain things that we're required to sign when we're registering. And I would like to see, if it's not already being done, that the hate speech or that's actually identified, and that at least if the parents are exposed to that kind of thing when they're filling out or going online and doing the forms, I think that would be helpful, so that there's more visibility that is there, and that's something that the district is behind and believes in. The other thing, it had to do about the immigration, which is, also, I liked hearing all of the ideas and thoughts around that. Especially the Ring Central. I know, being part of the PTA, there's always been this challenge about being able to communicate with families, and so I really like that idea. I just want to make sure that whatever we design is, I don't think it would be intentional, but that it may feel excluding of the whole community. Like, I don't know how it's working or how it would be structured. But as was mentioned, there's just so many different places to get information. So just as we're developing things, feeling like, okay, if it's over here, is it still here? I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to work. Oh, where you have some? Okay, I just, because sometimes like I get, and this is just me, but sometimes I'll get messages in Spanish and I'm like, I don't know, like, what is this? Should I know about whatever it is? And so just that awareness that, you know, are we all going to the same place to get information or not? But make sure, you know, it sounds like, I don't know, you guys will figure it out, I'm sure. But anyway, I just want to commend you for the work being done, and I really like where it's going and look forward to next year. So thank you.
Yeah. If I may, yes. The issue of immigration or the issue of equity is so nuanced, right? And so when the subcommittee was looking at a-tier communication system, also exploring those pieces of, you know, if we are communicating delicate information, who does it go to? How does it get disseminated out, right? Because people feel protective and feel a need to keep certain information secure, for lack of a better term. But it, if a couple of things that we heard from the parents is it's never intended to be exclusionary. It's never like, oh, it's just for us or just for this group. It really is coming from a place of protectiveness and trying to have a specific need met, right? And, you know, just to close off, some of the work that this committee did was so touching. I know for me, there were a couple of students that shared their experiences when the immigration communication or immigration information was being shared, and they felt, what they shared was that they felt so validated that it wasn't being shoved under the rug, that people were talking about it, and that we were aware of the impact that families were having with that issue. And then with the student that wasn't able to be here tonight, my takeaway from when he spoke about allyship and about showing up for people is that sometimes it isn't getting in the middle of an argument. And sometimes it isn't about, especially at high school, saying stop, you know, it's sometimes more quiet and passive is reaching out to that person that you watched experience, you know, something difficult or being targeted, and saying, hey, I'm here, holding space for them and letting them know that he was there if they needed him, if they wanted to talk, rather than, you know, stepping in right away, potentially causing even more embarrassment or making a situation even worse. So there's a wisdom that was there that as a, you know, 51-year-old, I was unaware, because what I want to do is I want to step in and I want to fix it right away, right? But he had this wisdom about how to step in and making himself available and holding space for the person that had experienced a difficult situation. So it was amazing work.
I'm having, in a different world, having conversations with kids, and that so much is a piece of it, is they don't want to feel, you don't want to feel different or in a seen different, in that balance of how do you help, but also then not create a situation that makes everybody, you know, makes them feel more uncomfortable. So if I'm getting your point there, but yes, anyway, yeah. Thank you.
Diane touched on something that I was already thinking about, and I think this is wonderful, the way I like the idea of the themes, because there's a lot, right? And isolating into individual themes, and these are very effective themes. I think you're on the right track, especially bringing in the special ed angle of it, because we've not been looking at that. And I think we're definitely on the right track on helping and articulating processes to support the families and the kids that are affected. My challenge to the group is, how do we work on the families and the kids that are affecting? How do we get them involved to understand what they're doing? And this is not something new. This is something that's been going on since I was a kid here. It's persistent. It's not going away. And I know we can't do it ourselves. And certainly the kids, we can't do it just to the kids. This is the families. This is learned behavior. And it's in Novato. And I don't know what we can do, but I'm happy to help think about it. I know we're doing everything we can to help, once again, the affected parties, but we got to work on those that are making these things happen, and it's got to stop. And this goes beyond us. I really think we need to involve the city, the county, police department. This is not just us. Anyway.
Trustee Alexander.
Thank you. I really want to appreciate the comments that have been already made. I can't underscore, I think, the importance of, as Trustee Gasson said, the pivoting that happened around key and critical issues for students, families, and community. And thank you, Trustee Mack, for those comments. I wholeheartedly agree. I also don't want to lose sight of something that I think is incredibly important, that when the committee started in a commitment to educational equity, looking at the DNF list, looking at the data, looking at the students who were not succeeding, and those were the Black and brown students. And I think we would be sorely remiss if we didn't go back to a mandate to ensure that every single student in this district had access to an education that preserved their dignity and that preserved their ability to thrive in life. And I want to make sure that we continue to do what's right to meet the moment. We continue to elevate the right priorities at the right time, and we go back to each individual student having the ability to succeed, no matter their background or zip code or identity, what have you. It's so critically important that we, I think, through the equity work, have a deep focus, an adaptable focus, but also a focus on each student's success. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Well, I was on the committee, and I want to echo what Trustee Gasson said, like that we pivot. And for me, I was like, oh, we gotta focus on this, but it's okay to evolve and it's okay to change. And I think at the end, I was really happy with the results of engaging parents that are normally not part of the process. Like we see DLAC parents, I interact with them, but these parents on these committees I've never seen them at DLAC. So I thought that was really powerful that we found creative ways to engage them, to find them. And I think that's something that we kind of continue to have to do, like think outside the box. I really challenged you. I was like, we're talking about this population, but there is no representation of this, right? And that's part of the growing and having hard conversations. And I really, really appreciated that. And I really look forward to seeing what the committee will do next year and continue to improve our outcomes of our students.
President Lametta, can I just say one thing? Your comment, I think, is really interesting around not losing sight of that original piece. And in my head, and I'm sort of weighing these two different pieces, I feel like those inequities are being addressed when we look at data. And so I was like, wow, are we not paying attention to those things? And I am feeling like we are having a lot of those conversations, perhaps not under the guise of this committee, but in other contexts, which doesn't mean that your point does not still stand. But your point made me think, wow, have we lost sight of this particular piece? And I don't feel like we have, but I do feel like we want to make sure that there is a sacred space for that conversation to take place, or a special place for that conversation to take place. So just a thought.
Okay, moving on. Thank you. English Learner Program update.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about our English Learner Program and kind of our update and next steps. I am throwing a lot of data at you right now. So what you're going to look at this slide is basically the composition of our English language learners This data was taken from our seabeds date in October. This information comes from DataQuest. And so what you can see here is kind of, it's a breakdown by school site, kind of who our English learners are. Who are students who have been here in the first column? You're going to see who are considered our newcomer students, our students for the first 3 years in our school system. The middle column is our EL kiddos who have been here for about 4 to 5 years. These are our kiddos that we're really looking at. These are students who can become what's called at risk of becoming a long-term EL. So I'm going to use a little acronym here in a second. The long-term EL students are called our LTEL students. The category, the third column, or the EL 6+ years, which is actually the fourth column, that's the column that we really worry about. These are students who have been in our system for at least 6 years. And the fact that they haven't been redesignated is a significant issue for us. What's happening, our goal is by students, if they've come to us since TKK, be redesignated by the time they leave elementary. So students that are in this column here, that's our big worry in terms of making sure that we can redesignate those students, what's happening, is there challenges with English learner proficiency, things along those lines. The next category is called RFEP. Sorry, I had to shorten these. It's a redesignated fluent English proficient. So the reclassification ceremony, thanks for coming last week. The students who came in our reclassification ceremony, these are students who have met local and state criteria to be redesignated and classified as English proficient. And these students earn what's a score of 4 on the English language proficiency examination, the LPAC. They have met a local criteria that we have determined. We use IXL this year. This is the first year of using IXL, and there's a particular cutoff score to show basic English skills. And we have a consult with teachers and a consult with families. And then students are wonderfully redesignated and exciting ceremonies here. As Isabel mentioned previously, we had 134 students who were redesignated this past Wednesday during the school year. Of the 134 students, 50 of these students were classified as long-term ELs. So that's a significant number. That's exciting. That's what we want to see. One of the particular reasons for the jump was when we were evaluating kind of the switch from Galileo to IXL, we looked at our cut scores again. And one of the challenges that we had with Galileo is we were asking more of our English learners than we were for our English-only students. So with committee work and kind of results, that is a reason why you will see significant numbers of LTELs that were redesignated, and that's fantastic. One of the challenges, especially when students get into the secondary level, if they're not redesignated, they potentially lose one of their elective periods to be in an English language development class along with English courses. So that's really exciting to see. The other wonderful portion is that of the 50 students redesignated, 11 of the students have active IEPs. And so that's another huge shout out to our ed specialists and the special education team and our English learner specialists really kind of working together to understand what it means when a student has an IEP and needs additional support and not to be tested in a domain. There's 4 domains in an LPAC test that the child cannot access due to their disability. So that's wonderful stuff, and the teams are all working together and trying to square that all away. And then kind of some of the program commitments that we've been working on really to support our English language learners is continuing work to the next 26-27, how we're building staff capacity through coaching and professional development. It's been a true pleasure to get to work with our English learner specialists and really develop out some strong instructional strategies to help support staff. It's just a really great team, and I'm excited to get to work with them in a greater capacity this year and next year. Truly strengthen our supports for long-term English learners and our newcomer students. Refining our progress monitoring systems to ensure timely intervention. So making sure we use a program called Elevation, a student learning platform, and Elevation really helps us to track student progress. So we can put interventions in for individual student work, so additional support after school. One of the other big pieces of interventions that we're really looking at is giving students the tools they need to exposure to the LPAC. So the first time we're taking the LPAC, which is such a high stakes test, students will understand how to navigate the system. They get practice questions as well. So to have some practice opportunities and with similar questions. So helping support them understanding the test requirements. And again, really expanding our family engagement opportunities for language development. Again, a huge shout out to our DLAC and ELAC crews. I mean, families are really coming together. Huge shout out to our EL specialists, our community liaisons, all our admin teams, really working to bring in family connections. One of the other big pieces of work that I've mentioned earlier are our professional development, and where we see a lot of crossover with our special development or our professional development is kind of work with the Center for Educational Leadership and really setting our vision for our student experience. And so one of the things that we worked on at our last EL specialist meeting was kind of really setting our vision for student experience as we update our English Learner Master Plan. And so the staff had an opportunity to really say, what is it that we want our students to experience? And the three key pieces are obviously belonging, identity, and a very emotional experience in terms of where they feel happy, joyful, and excited to learn. Experiencing high levels of trust, seeing diversity and culture as strengths, and I'm definitely experiencing pride in who they are and what they bring. So this is kind of the feeling statement. And then what we're going to work on as we kind of wrap up the school year is really talking about the academic supports and next steps with our vision. So as you will be bringing forward our English Learner Master Plan in the near future. One of the things that we need to do is update our program, our plan based on federal program monitoring requirements, addressing all state and federal laws that we need to do. And there's three real big components that we need to deal with. How we're administering the LPAC to measure proficiency, how we track our students, not only when they're English learners, but after they have been redesignated. We need to track our students for 4 years to monitor their progress and make sure that they are progressing according to grade level standards and not needing any additional supports. And how we are implementing the California roadmap to support our work. When we bring the plan to you, you will see kind of areas in these key components: initial identification and placement, progress monitoring, how we monitor our students, the difference that we offer in our programs between both designated and integrated English language development programs, what we're really doing to codify supports for our English learners that are considered long-term, continue to work with our parents, and really implementing what we are doing with our English Learner Plan. We have a great plan that has been started for us, really focusing on the EL roadmap, the California roadmap. What we intend to do is be a little bit more intentional of who does what in our program, who's responsible for what, and kind of increase our metrics as we move forward with that to show how we are progressing. So we have a bunch of things that we're going to do next year and kind of towards the end of this year. Really formalize our system for EL monitoring. We have Elevation. We need to use Elevation with more fidelity. We really want to help students kind of take ownership of their learning and kind of work on a goal-setting process with them. Again, I've mentioned our English Learner Plan update, ensuring that our English learners receive designated English learner development opportunities. So one of the challenges sometimes that we have is when students are in high school and they're trying to take as many things. Like I said, you lose elective opportunities, so really working in that area to make sure we can address those needs. Reclassification supports, continuing to train the students with the LPAC system. Talked earlier tonight about improving our systems for dually enrolled students. So for our students who are receiving special education services and who are in dual language immersion that we can offer an additional elective, for example, at the middle schools, and that we are really ensuring that we have all of our information shared with all the families. And again, looking forward to implementing our new curriculum at the elementary level, both the ELA and ELD curriculum, And then one of the challenges that we still face is determining a native language student assessment tool to ensure that students are not over-identified in special education should they have language gaps versus a potential learning disability, really helping to navigate that, especially for our students who don't just speak Spanish. We have, plenty of staff who are bilingual in Spanish, but when we have students, and we have over 29 different languages spoken in our district, how we're supporting all of our students, so working on that. So, looking forward to working on the English Learner Program, continue to work on the program for next year, and can I answer any questions?
Thank you for rolling that 29 number in, because as I mentioned in my question to you, I feel like we are always thinking about Spanish. And so my question, and by the way, thank you for all this information, and it's always a learning opportunity for me to understand how this all works. And so one of the things I was wondering, and actually appreciate, was when we do the tours, we saw some of the work being done within the classrooms on getting them prepared to take the LPAC. And so I had that connection right away when I saw that I saw that actually happening on the school site. My question goes to, when we're looking at the numbers of those that are long-term, are they predominantly in Spanish, or are they in, what started making me think about it is we're focused and have people that are bilingual, but we have so many different languages. Are some of the challenges for those longer term students, because it's not a language that we naturally, like if it's Chinese or Mandarin or whatever, is that a component to why those kids might be in those longer term buckets?
That's a great question. It could be, and I think one of the things too is really helping to build staff capacity to support students who speak another language other than Spanish. So one of the great tools that we have that we need to continue to expand, and here's where technology can help, and AI as well, is kind of using the Google Slides Translator app. So a lot of staff are working on having both Spanish and English slides for content knowledge in the basic classes. That being said, to utilizing that to a greater effect when you have students who speak another language other than Spanish. So yes, that absolutely could be one of the concerns. And again, it's also helping when you have peer interactions, right? When students, even in homogeneous grouping, can talk to each other. And if you don't have a peer to kind of help bounce some ideas off, that's struggling as well. The other big piece that we really have been focusing on, not just in our EL program, is academic language, right? So acquiring, and I think Madeline Panacci came and talked a little bit about that from San Marin, really saying how many times do students have the opportunity to talk during a day? And so really being intentional in classrooms where, again, I know our teachers are working as hard as they can and delivering curriculum, but sometimes really taking a step back to say, how many opportunities did children get a chance to speak to one another, process their ideas, and then relay back what they said? Because again, as having lived in another country and sat in a class and just knew how to nod really well and pretend I knew what was going on, yes, I mean, it's very easy to potentially hide or look like you're following along and not really understanding until you have that opportunity to talk. So yes, that could be.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Dr. Senior. Moving on to discussion action. We have approval of resolution number 23, 2025, 2026, non-reemployment of certificated employees.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Smith and Jonathan. All right, this first item here for you, Resolution 23. This is something, unfortunately, it is typically an annual thing. If we have previously, prior to March, identified preliminarily either subject areas or program areas that we need to eliminate at the end of the school year, prior to May 15th, we have the obligation to notify in terms of like a final notice to any staff who are still going to be subject to layoff or reduction. So as you can see on the resolution, ultimately we had 30.4 FTE, full-time equivalent, in certificated staff reductions. And there are still going to be 1 FTE layoff and a 0.2 FTE, bless you, of a reduction. And those staff will be noticed personally in the next week or so following your approval.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve resolution, number 23, 2025, 2026, non-reemployment of certificated employee? Thank you, Trustee Gasson. May I please have a second? Thank you, Trustee Alexander. And this is a roll call. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson.
Aye.
Trustee Lametta, aye. Trustee Mack.
Aye.
And Trustee Piggis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have approval of the certificated approval of resolution number 24, 2025, 2026, non-reemployment of classified employees.
All right, so similar to the resolution for our certificated employees, this is being brought forward for our classified employees, similar timelines. By May 15th, we need to be notifying any of our classified staff that are not specially funded, technically, of their final layoff notice. We include anyone that previously received a preliminary notice. And I will point out again, the ultimate reduction or elimination of full-time equivalent positions is 12.875. But other than the 2 positions listed there, one at a full-time position and one at 0.75 FTE position, all the other positions, staff were placed into positions for the coming school year. So we had retirements and other things that helped in that way.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions or comments, Trustee Mack?
To approve.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. So, may I please have a second? Thank you, Trustee Butler. And this is a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson.
Aye.
Trustee Lametta, aye. Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Pickis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, approval of the certificated job description, teacher on special assignment, ELOP, assessments data, second reading.
All right, so this actually came as a first reading at our last meeting. Normally it would come back on consent, but after it had already gone on the agenda for our last meeting, we did get some feedback from other relevant staff members that pointed out some pretty key elements that are required to be included for the purposes of monitoring and assessment and other things that would be pretty horrible if we actually didn't include those. So because the edits are fairly significant, we're bringing this back on discussion action for your final review and approval. Do you have any questions?
Sorry, I missed that. So you're saying there's just the red ones that are on the copy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, you're gonna come back and...
It doesn't have to be
Oh,
brought
okay.
back. You can just give direction that you're approving this in this final version.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So does anyone have any questions? Trustee Pickus?
No, I was going to move to approve with the corrections.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it's not coming back?
And not come back for review.
Okay. So I have a first by Trustee Pickus, a second by Trustee Alexander. All those in favor? 7 and 1 student advisory vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Last on our agenda is approval to file the California Environmental Quality Act Notice of Exemption for the mini pitch project at Loma Verde Elementary School.
Yes, as we talked about with the last in the last board meeting, with the approval of the mini pitch, we were going to come back with a CEQA exemption notice. This resolution would then have us move forward with the official CEQA exemption notice. It'll get filed with I don't remember exactly which agency, but the powers that be, that will then activate the 35-day timeline for anyone in the community that disagrees with this being a CEQA exemption to be able to file, and then after that we would be protected from those sort of actions. Just detailing real quick that this does have a light, but the light is below 25 feet and not, it is omnidirectional. It is looking just at the area of the field and is not considered a permanent fixture or upgrade. So most of the CEQA things that we look at to make them CEQA-able, this is exempt from that, and that was the approach that our legal team took when drafting this resolution and the CEQA exemption documents. So I'll take any questions, and then I ask for approval on the resolution.
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the height of the light?
25 feet.
Is that much different than the light that's on the upper playground that shines into the neighborhood? There's a really bright one you see going down via Escondida.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think.
Just thinking.
JC, do you know how high that one is?
I think that one might be like 11 or 12 feet. You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry?
I know exactly which light you're talking about.
Yeah,
and the neighbor that complains about the light.
Okay.
I'll probably need to go out and measure it for you.
Yeah, I'm just curious for comparison's sake, that's all. Yeah, I fully support this, don't get me wrong, but I was just, yeah.
It's on the same level. Both
Okay.
lights would be on the same level.
Oh, that's where we're going up there, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So I can check.
Thanks, JC.
No big deal.
And for comparison, the DSA limit is 35 feet. So this is 10 feet below what would be required to go through the DSA process, is only if it was 35 feet or more.
Thank you, Trustee Mack. And then second by Trustee Jacobson. All those in favor? Oh,
think it's a
sorry,
roll
this is
call, yeah.
actually a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson.
Aye.
Trustee Lametta, aye. Trustee Mack.
Aye.
And Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have concluded our meeting. We will see you at our next board meeting. Thank you.